Howdy, y'all. What's going on? I'm just moseying down the plane today. I gotta go down to the general store and get me some rum. Is it whiskey? Maybe it's whiskey. I don't know. Watching some videos. How did we get all the trans people? How did this happen? Why did the explosion of this counterculture arise? What happened? With a very small amount of people that really are confused about their sexuality. And there's always been trannies for a long time, but now it's all the rage. Why is it all the rage? Do we know why? I think it's insane. I mean, I like to help people that need to find their self, you know. I blame the government. I blame the government part of the institution that's trying, because they're all communists. Why would you want to be a communist? Can you answer me that? Why do you want to be a communist? What do you know about communism? And how come they so dumb about any other thing that people know? They don't know nothing. They're very, very narcissistic. I was wondering about that. But now I'm wondering about this. What's going to happen? This is very not cool. This is absolutely not cool. You want to go with something else? I do. I'll go with the horse. Are you ready? I was just having my friend on my back and he was asking those questions about trans, but I will answer those questions for you. I will tell you that they were mind controlled. These people were mind controlled. I was supposed to read a book and I think I'm going to read it. I got to send some messages first. And I'm supposed to tell my landlady what's going on. And we having a severe problem getting our new job started. So, and all that money's already gone. It's going to go to her. It's very sad. It's a very sad thing. I don't know what I was wondering about stuff. So, what I'm going to do is start a little journey. We're going together on this journey. We're going to watch this. I just found this guy, and he makes dioramas, and he's funny as fuck. He only has 10 videos. So the first one I saw was the Joe Rogan podcast diorama, and he's fucking badass. I enjoy looking at how they're made because I think it's quite fascinating, actually. I didn't expect it to be as badass as it was. And seeing that I just got in here, you can clearly see. So this says Steven Seagal chokehold diorama. Now, Steven Seagal doesn't like not being the best. I don't know if you know that about him or not. He's got to be the best. And as you can see here, it doesn't look like he brought his best. It looks like he's getting thrown the fuck down. So I thought we'd both have a look and play homage to this guy's wonderful art.
It can be yours.
What does Mel Gibson?
I started this diorama by sculpting Segal's head in 1:1 scale using water-based clay. I used a cutout of his profile to set the proportions and widened him out, starting with his eye sockets and then his jawbone, slowly bringing out his features. There are many versions of this story, but the highlights are thus. While on a movie set, Segal was boasting about how he couldn't be knocked unconscious due to his Aikido training. Upon hearing this, stuntman Jean LaBelle offered to put him to the test. There was a tussle between the two men, which ultimately ended with Segal being choked out and subsequently evacuating his bowels. Now I've heard versions where Segal pisses himself and versions where he froths at the mouth. There are versions where Jean LaBelle gets a slap in the penis. And I've heard versions that center around LaBelle's desire to seek revenge on behalf of all the stuntmen that Segal hit over the years. A practice called tagging that is frowned upon by the stunt community. The version I'll be doing is based on a source I deem to be reliable, but more on that later. Just tightening up his beautiful widow's peak and smoothing out his ears. Here I am sculpting his beautiful ponytail. I managed to make that elegant yet masculine. It's important to make sure that's right. Just smoothing him out now. And there he is. Stephen. Jean LaBelle, The godfather of grappling, was a professional stuntman, martial artist, and wrestler who was in thousands of films and TV shows. And he wrote 12 books and was, by all accounts, one of the hardest bastards in the world, right up until his death in August of this year. And I really enjoyed sculpting his face. Apologies for the delay in getting this video out. It's been difficult to do the voiceovers. We're having some work done in the house and the builders can be a bit loud.
Macaroni in a pot, got some wet ass.
Both men are in a pretty aggressive situation, so I had to sculpt quite angry looking faces on them. And thankfully there are thousands of pictures of Jean LaBelle looking like he wants to pull your head clean off your shoulders. Segal, on the other hand, kinda does one very, very cool face. Here I am refining the secondary forms and taking away some of the tool marks left by the early sculpting. Jean has trained some well-known fighters over the years, including Chuck Norris, Roddy Piper, Elton John, and Ronda Rousey. Jean was somewhat of a trendsetter, performing with a bright pink gi, and can be seen here in 1935 inventing the hoisting the sides of my swimwear up while staring away from the camera, a look recently adopted by bikini-clad women the world over. Here I scored some furrows into his brow, then used a watery brush to knock back the sharp edges. I continued using watery brushes to smooth out the model, take away the tool marks. I tried 2 brushes in an attempt to save time, but it just felt a bit odd, kind of like 2 men sharing a urinal. No offense to men's room piss perverts or 5-year-old boys playing swords, assuming 5-year-old boys still play swords. I know men's room piss perverts too, because I witnessed it in Epcot. I brought the 2 boys into Odyssey Studios where they were scanned by the redoubtable Mark Maher and the enigmatic Laura Hurtado Miedas. Laura is also responsible for cleaning up the scans in ZBrush. I tried ZBrush once, and I still wake up screaming. There's a 3D printed Jean LaBelle, just doing a bit of grinding before sticking it onto a little armature. And then I'm sculpting his body in oil-based clay. This is Chavant NSP medium.
We're going to zoom ahead because I want you to see the finished sculpture, but Bobby Fingers, you got to check him out.
It's my preferred sculpting clay, and if you try and tell me monster clay is better, I'll find out where you live and I'll push local dog shit through your letterbox. If I knew he was going to be such a massive fanny, I would have used a massive fanny scanner. He said he was surprised I had a massive fanny scanner because I wouldn't even know what a massive fanny looked like. And I said I've seen more massive fannies than he's seen hot dinners. And he said I'd be the last person he'd talk to if he needed advice on massive fannies. And I said that's rich coming from a man whose wife ran off to Bulgaria with all his money. And it was at this point that he grabbed me by the throat. I was sure wouldn't allow me to use the footage, but it turns out this guy will do anything for cash, presumably because his wife ran off to Bulgaria with all his money. I stayed true to my word and had Laura pixelate his face in ZBrush, and then painted all the little pixels with various different light flesh tones, and dry brushed his cool 90s waistcoat. For the part of Lincoln Simon, I just downloaded a man. But you can see Lincoln has a cooler quiff and a bigger jaw. So I went to town with a Dremel. I then used some modeling clay to resculpt his head, more Lincoln Simonish. And then I made what could only be described as a very shit mold. I filled it up with urethane and gave it a lick of Lincoln paint. Give him an olive green jacket, white shirt, and dry brushed his cool, grey slacks, then offered them up to the diorama. To make the motorhome, I drew up the basic shapes in Adobe Illustrator and used the laser cutter to cut the parts out of 5mm acrylic. I then bonded the pieces with dichloromethane. Dichloromethane is a controlled substance and can be difficult for hobbyists to obtain. I find the best approach is to walk into your local chemical manufacturer wearing a well-tailored suit, slap your hand firmly on the receptionist's desk, and in a loud, confident voice exclaim, "I want some dichloromethane." For the trailer hitch, I ruined a perfectly good paintbrush, and then I just glued a lot of shit to it. Then I primed it and used some decorator's filler or husband paste to fill in any gaps. Painted it silver, and then weathered it using some washes. There's a bit of black in the handle. I modelled and printed that gas cylinder and gave it some cool paint effects. Stuck on a transfer and then weathered it using a bunch of keys. I learned that trick from Miggles. There's a little pipe regulator. Glued a hose onto it, and that's how the actor gets hot water gushing out of this vanity that I'm building here now, out of Brendan board. I took a Dremel and with a roundy burr I carved the basin and used some husband paste to fill in any gaps. And cut a plug hole where all your Hollywood dreams can wash away. Here's a snazzy chrome handle. I also carved this little tap, or a faucet, as an American might say. At the time of recording this, Premier Trump has announced a bid for the White House 2024. And I could not be happier. This season of America has been very dull, and I would love another one of your shit show elections. I'm pretty sure your current president is operating solely by means of Weekend at Bernie's. I cut up a filthy piece of wood I found in the garden and stuck it down using my hands. Then I used my hands to stick the greasy wallpaper on the wall, and I peel that bit back with my hands. I'm doing most of this stuff with my hands actually, so I'll stop saying that. See, there's more handwork. Just all hands. I cut up some reflecting plastic to use as a mirror, and I carved this small little folding desk with some metal trim around it, upon which your actor can, learn their lines, do cocaine, or the first AD. I made these little steps that lead up to the entrance of the trailer. They're cut out of bits of styrene and glued with super glue, painted silver, and then have some dirty paint effect. I fitted some mesh on it so the actors wouldn't slip and hurt their beautiful Hollywood faces. Then giving it a lick of paint. I based this motorhome on a picture I found on actor William Sanderson's Instagram page. Thanks, William, for letting me use the picture. This picture was taken in 1990, the same year Segal and LaBelle had it out. I cut up a cotton bud and some styrene, painted it silver, and used that as a little hinge. And there it is. Hollywood. Let's pop the lads back in and give it a few final details. Now let's see what it looks like under an early morning Californian sun. You are my my sweetest downfall. I loved you first. Beneath the stars came falling.
Give Bobby Fingers a fucking subscription. It'll be worth it.